We're going.
Are we naked?
Matt. No. Woo!
It's nipply. Okay. Mm-hmm.
There we go. There we go.
Special Officer Duty report.
Told you never to bother me while I'm cleaning my room.
All right. Here we go. Y'all ready? Jesus. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Matt, jeez. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 79. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and that guy over there, I don't know what's wrong with him, but that's Matt. We got two special guests with us tonight. We got the other Matt number 2 with Mustache, and and Josh with North Country Woodworking. You good?
Just gotta breathe.
It would have been funny if that chair would have broken, you would have fallen over, and we would have just seen nothing but feet.
Oh yeah,
that'd have been entertaining. Probably would have went viral.
I'd have been done with the show because I wouldn't have been able to stop laughing.
You can't even talk, boy. Oh yeah, look, listen to Red Leg. He's saying, "Breathe, Matt, breathe."
Oh,
he's murdering that candy. We gotta let him murder. We should have just waited till he finished that candy that's in his mouth.
He might have choked.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us tonight. We'll see y'all next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh goodness.
Made it a minute.
Yeah, that was a quick hour. Tonight we're going to talk about, we've all kind of been through it, cutting through the rut, basically, like, you know, having those workshop woes, get done with the big project, wears you out, or just life getting in the way, and you don't have the push to get out in the workshop and do stuff. You just get into a slump. I've had it happen. I know y'all all have. Matt, Matt number 1 Wackerle.
There we go.
First. There we go. We need to figure this out because it's going to get
that's Mustachio.
Yes.
Okay.
I changed my name. I changed my name.
The master of disguise. The master of disguise.
That's why you did it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Getting in a rut. I mean, you could be in the middle of a big project, and it just seems like it's going on forever and ever. Like I'm in the middle of a build right now, and I've been building for 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks now. And it's like it's never going to end. You think you have everything done, and you get to the final stages, and you almost need like a quick win or something to boost your spirits to get you up moving on it, just so that you feel like you feel accomplished in something. So yeah, no, it's a big thing getting into a rut.
Yeah, I've been in a long one ever since I finished this office extension the first of the year. After that, I just kind of went dormant. I was like just done. Like, and you know, and then,
Joey,
what's that?
How's the AC unit going? Did you install those yet?
Ooh.
Man, I didn't know.
It's one of these shows.
We're just talking about ruts, and I just was curious. That's all.
Oh.
Man, you've been talking to Matt too much.
Actually, in that fact, no, I remember that from our conversation a while ago. So
probably 2 years ago.
Actually, since no, it's Well, he brought it up, so I'm just gonna say it's been since 2020. They've been sitting in the corner over there, along with the insulation.
Yeah.
It's ready.
So speaking of ruts, I've been in the long one and procrastinating on that for a long time. And then I decided, well, this was kind of like a competition, but I needed the room. And I know myself, I don't do this full time, right? So I've got a regular job, and I know that usually I'll start something and then I start procrastinating. And like Matt says, I get a squirrel moment and I want to jump into something else. There's something a little more shinier out there. And I said, well, I want to do that. And then this get put on the back burner. So hence the reason that I went into that competition, because I knew that would push me to get it to the finish line. Because one, I'm getting older and I wanted to see if I could actually drive through that and finish that within 3 months, because that's what we had. There was a time frame, and it was a big build. I mean, it was every day coming and doing something. This right here where this laser at, that used to be a wall. That was the office to begin with, and I needed more room when I got more 3D printers, and it was getting to a point where there was just nowhere else to go. So I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'll use that competition to help motivate myself to finish it. And I was able to finish it, and it was a lot of work. I mean, that's what was that, Matt? 15 by 20 or 12 by, no, it wasn't even 20. I think it was 12 by 14, something like that.
Yeah, 14 and a half. Yeah.
There wasn't a whole, I mean, it's not big, but when you got to get through everything, knock a wall down, build a beam, and then go through the whole finish process, that was a lot. And it took the wind out of my sails. When I got done, I was done. Like I needed a break from all this, because that was a lot of work. But yeah, I mean, I still haven't finished that side of the office, and that'll happen. But like Matt said, I needed a quick win. So when Trevor was on Madeira Designs, he called me out on my CNC because it's been packed with stuff. It was
your table.
Yeah, my table. And I was like, I know I need to get that moved. So that kind of forced me to move the CNC where its final location is going to be. And then that kind of like started driving me. I need to get that miter saw station built. So that's kind of got me motivated now. And Matt was like, just hook the CNC up and get a quick win, get those quick wins. But of course, myself, I'm like, Matt don't know what he's talking about. He, he's already had my wife make me do backsplash one time when I was completely something else. See, so what if it's for? And I knew I needed to move those cabinets. And I did that, and of course, the way I am, I'm like, oh well, it needs to be bigger. It was supposed to only move those cabinets over there, and that was it. And then I took it to a whole nother level, but I want to get it done the way I want it. So that's kind of motivated me now. I'm kind of starting to get back out of that slump. And now that I've started doing it, now I want to finish it, because I want to see the finished result. But yeah, those slumps are hard. But Josh, you got anything?
Of course they're going next. I didn't mean to throw you for a loop there, but I was just curious because ruts could be anything between projects, or it could be actually building in the shop or building out your shop. It could be anything really. For me to get out of them when I'm in them, it needs to be a quick build of some sort for the shop. It could be a quick project I need to get out. Buying a new tool, that's always helps with ruts. They get you the motivation, but that gets expensive real quick. But we all get in them, and the best thing is to listen to yourself, because there's a reason why you're getting into that rut. Long projects, like Matt was saying, he's doing a long project. You're doing the same thing or same project every time you go in the shop. Give yourself a break. Get motivated again. Maybe take a day out of the shop. But it's important to make that time and rest and find out why you're in that rut. Because if you don't, you bypass it, you drive through it, your project might not turn out as well as it could have because you didn't give yourself that win or that rest or what have you. And you might have to start over, or it might just be good enough, but you're not going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and sometimes the projects just are fighting you the whole way. I mean, sometimes they won't even get off your bench. Yeah, they won't even get off your bench or anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I experienced that most recently with the coasters that I did. Just because I was trying something new, like I'd never made coasters before, and two, I was trying a weird. I was doing the borax on the wood.
Like epoxy.
No, there was no Joey. There was no epoxy. So like I was doing those coasters for a friend, and I had like 6 months or something, and sure enough, right down to the wire.
Because when you started,
and I I started. I gave myself like 3 or 4 months. You know, I took a couple months to buy what I needed, and you know, like I got to a certain point, and I was like, all right, great, the burn's awesome, and then I went to do a chamfer, and I put it on my router table, and the char on the wood just like went all over the maple, and I was like, oh no. So then I like sealed it, and then it was I just went through so many hoops to get to that end point and stuff, and you know, I had a bunch of things, but like that was something that I was on the hook for, and I had an actual deadline. You know, like if it's a project for me or my wife or something, you know, that's just like get to that 90%, and then I just get bored with it, and I'm like, all right, what's next? Like, just put that on the back burner and like come back to it, because like I do that a lot with like my own stuff, because I just get sick of it. You know, you like spend so much time, and like you said, Matt, something goes sideways, and you're like recovering, and then you just get mad with yourself, and you're just like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore, and you start something brand new. And you know, like I said earlier, I'm working on my PhD. Project's half done.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just so much.
But I mean, quite honestly, sometimes it's a good thing. And I hate to say that, but you don't have projects that are finished, but you have projects that you haven't been around for a moment, and then you can jump right back into them. And it gives you a quick win, because it's like, okay, I've had time to think about that. And instead of being here with thinking about it, I've now opened my eyes to what it is that I'm doing. And then it's a quick win. There's been a couple of those where it's a daunting task. Oh my God, this didn't go right. This didn't go right. And then you start thinking about it and you go, why was I doing it that way? Like I could I could have had this finished already if I would just thought about it instead of focusing on the problem. Look at the solution. So I think that happens a lot. Just having small wins sitting there waiting for you.
Yep.
What's another way that you guys do? Quick wins is always a good one, and I think it's a rewarding one. It gets your confidence back up, gets you moving forward, and next thing you know, I mean, Joey just got done doing it. Me and him had talked about moving those uppers, and he moved those uppers and he moved lowers, and he's got his boards already glued up for his counter. I mean, he jumped into it just because of that small quick win. What's another way you guys use it? Do ways to move forward with projects that you've been kind of stuck?
Start.
I know for me. No, go ahead.
No, go.
Go, Josh.
Well, for me, it depends. If I can, I try to clean the shop, because the dirty shop always gets me upset because I can't find anything. I have a small shop, and when I can't find anything, there's a problem. And that happens a lot. And I can tell when I go through a project, because the shop will get destroyed. I'll clean it, and then I'll start another one. But if I have a large project and I don't take that time to clean as I go, taking the time to clean, finding everything, and then I'm actually able to, find the tape measure when I need the tape measure, or find that, the 500 pencils I have in there somewhere that keep disappearing. That stuff is accessible, and I'm not spending 10 minutes walking around my shop wondering where I put it last.
Oh yeah.
So small, but it could be a big one.
Oh,
but a lot of times that can sidetrack, like me. If I'll do it, and then I get sidetracked, and I'm like, you know what? That needs to actually be over here. And now I've just taken off in a different direction, and I've forgotten about the project again. And I'm over here. Yeah, I'm over here expanding the office, and but one thing that I'll do that I've found that I don't know, it's weird. It may not make sense, but I like jumping in and designing on the 3D printers, the software, and I'll start making something just to get my mind off of things. And once I get it designed, print it, and I always like challenge myself to get it on the first try. I've only had one so far out of all the things that I've designed that it didn't work on the first try. And that was just a mismeasurement that I did. And that for some reason that just kind of like, I don't know, gets me straight, and I can go at things again. I don't know. It just helps me out to sit there and think about that one thing, design it, and accomplish that. Try to get it done in a day,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, just I find becoming a little bit more active at the jobby job. I'm sitting down a lot. So I walk the building when I'm talking on the phone or something, and I go out in the shop, check on the guys a lot, and make sure everything's going smooth. But besides that, I'm not very physically active. So I found that sometimes maybe not a project in the shop, but maybe a project outside, doing some maybe yard work, but it may be building, a raised bed or something like that, doing something physical, get the blood pumping. Then I go, oh, I can go do this tomorrow in the shop and get this done and get this done. And it motivates me to move forward a little bit more.
We got a question from Mark L. How often do you get to the point of saying, okay, that's good enough?
My wife calls me a 90%er. So quite often. I literally have a splotch in our living room. It's about this big, where I didn't paint the spot. That was 12 years ago. Still there. That's kind of like a badge of honor. 90%er. That's me.
I kind of, when I go at something, and I don't know about y'all, it's like to me, it's got to be perfect. I don't know. I get into that deal where I'm trying hard and hard, and sometimes the more I try, the worse I make things, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So kind of like right there, once I know I'm at that point, I'm getting frustrated, and it may be just a minute detail that I just can't get it to work. I'll usually just, okay, that's enough. And I'll let it go. And a lot of times it's things that y'all will probably never notice, but I do. Mm-hmm. I notice them. And sometimes it's hard to let go, but I've had to 3D printer cabinet. That was one that I was just like going way overboard with it. And I finally just like, hey, I mean, that's enough, because I was just getting real stupid with it, like wanting to do all these different things on it. And I finally just shut it down because I started just wasting too much time, and there was other things to do. And nobody's ever going to see those things. It was just for myself, Yeah. But
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mustachio.
Another thing I like to do is listening to podcasts, kind of like some of the various podcasts that I listen to, just just kind of like hearing what some of those people are talking about. Maybe they're building a bed, or they're building a table or something, and they're talking about the process or something. And like sometimes just that will kind of like fuel me to kind of be like, all right, I got a little motivation to like work on whatever it is or something, because like I also have a full-time job, and it's more a hobby for me, but it's so different because I sit at a computer all day, and doing like shop stuff is so different and kind of like unplugs me from being chained to the desk, and that kind of like gives me a little motivation when I want it. But like I'm lazy sometimes. Like there's numerous times after work where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go out into the shop tonight, or maybe spend some time with the wife. I just there's always but like I have a laundry list of honeydew items that she's asked me for in the past. They're all kind of up in my head. I don't write any of them down, so I have a tendency to kind of forget about a few of those.
Like
but
She reminds you enough.
yeah, the bagel
siding.
the bagel slicer is like one that she keeps asking me about right now, and I was just like, yeah, a little box to slice bagels, perfect. Yep, I'll make that.
2 years later.
Now, to me, I do something a little different, and it helps me out a lot. So I plan out what I want to do, and I may not do it in order, okay, but I still plan it out. And I'll make goals for myself that I want to get this done, this done, this done, and then sometimes life gets in the way and you don't get all that stuff done. But at least you made some goals, and then when you cross it off, I feel a sense of accomplishment. And it may just be, I got to glue up my boards today. I got to get this set up, and just gluing up the boards. It's part you instead of making a big goal, like, I'm going to make, 10 cutting boards. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, do this. You do smaller goals. Like, I'm going to get everything glued up so that I can get it, sanded down tomorrow, this, that, and the other. And you make smaller goals, and it just crossing off those small wins, I guess, still. But you're making out of a big goal. I find that helps out too. A lot, just because you see something accomplished.
Tiny bites.
Exactly. Can't eat the elephant all at once. I've tried.
We got another question in the chat here from Mr. Sullivan. Who is the biggest perfectionist? What field are you more excited about as a maker? And I think this one's directed at Mustache. Does anyone know siding installers?
I know Mustache is not one.
I can do it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So just to go back, who is the biggest perfectionist? What fields are you more excited about as a maker?
I think perfectionists, we're all our own worst critic. Yeah, yep. By far. Even things I know I can hide from people, I still try to, caulk will cover that. We can get that closer, So I know we just got into doing a trim job, and I had somebody else cut the wood, and I walked in, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, it was horrible. It was just horrible. Y'all okay over there?
Yeah.
I
almost said something I shouldn't have.
Oh, okay.
Way to go, Matt.
Yeah, you're welcome. But and then what was the other question part of that?
What field are you more excited about as a maker?
Field.
Depends on what mood. So I do a lot of numbers during the day, working for an engineering firm. And then I like to come home and I like to do engineering as far as building stuff sometimes. But to be able to get out of that, get out of my headspace, turning, because I don't have to think. I don't have to. There's no numbers involved really. It's just let the wood speak to you and just go with the flow. So it all depends on where your headspace is at. To me, what about you guys?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. And it depends on like what the hot topic is that I'm trying to accomplish at the time too. Like I just spent oodles of time. Jason actually sent me his 3D scanner, and we have a relatively new cat that has special food, and one of the other cats was just like figured out how to open the back of the feeder and would just like scarf down all the new cat's food and stuff. And I 3D printed like a few different pieces to like hide the buttons and stuff. They didn't work. And finally, like I scanned the whole cat feeder, and I spent probably a total of like a full day or two just like designing that model. And I went through like 3 revisions, and finally like the third one like worked out. And that was just like the thing of the time. But like I've bounced around from like woodworking stuff to like doing stuff on the laser to 3D printing, and it just kind of, I like to vary. I don't want to just do one solid thing. That's kind of what's fun about having all these different tools.
Yeah. I'm a big perfectionist. I always like, I'm going to go back to this because this is the most recent, biggest build I ever did or have done. Not the whole apartment office was the biggest one that I've done today. Cause that was, what is it? 2,000 square feet in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was a big undertaking when I did it, and I wanted the challenge. I know I could do it. And as far as this office goes, like all the case molding and everything was made in house. I didn't buy none of that stuff. And I challenged myself because I wanted to get a different look that I had never done before. And I was fortunate enough to just have the tools to do it, but you still got to make it, and you still got to make it fit right. And that was just something that when to the second part of Jason's question is when I can do construction like this, that is the most enjoyable thing for me to do is to get it, what I have envisioned in my head, to put it down and make it look like what I wanted it to look like. And that's exactly what I did in here. It was something as far as like the shiplap work that goes in there. That was a technique that I had seen years ago on YouTube University, and I never had the opportunity to try it. And this was the time that I'm like, you know what? And I'd not procrastinated. I was back and forth. Do I want to leave it just like the office here, just playing sheetrock? And then I was like, no, I want it to set itself apart. So when I did it, that shiplap, if you can't really tell, that's not shiplap. That's made out of plywood. And those are evenly spaced with a nickel, a US nickel. And you give it that look by doing that. And I had seen it years and years ago. And when you look at it, you can't tell the difference. You really can't. So, you can't really see it now because of the lights and, I got all this, crazy lights and stuff in there, but and the case molding that I did and made and the way I stacked it, it was exactly what I had seen years ago too. And I wanted to try it. So I really love getting the finish once, the other stuff is really not that difficult, framing, electrical. To me, I've done that so much that it's just like riding a bike. It's the finish part is what's the challenge, that to make it look right, because you can mess something up if you can't get it'll look horrible. So there was a lot of first time things that I did in this little office build. knocking this wall down, making that beam. I know Matt and I went back and forth a lot with that beam to make sure I was supporting, because right above me is a lot of weight. I've got a bunch of lumber storage and there's just a lot of storage. So I had to make sure before I knocked that wall out that it was properly supported. And I went overkill on it, but I know that it's not, nothing's going to happen. You know, it's not going to start bowing over the years or break on me or something, you know,
or flex or anything. Yeah. No, I think we supported that properly, and we designed it, came up with it, and that you put it in there, and we got it in there properly. I think it was a good job.
How about you, Josh?
So actually, this question kind of plays back into, okay, is that good enough? Perfectionism is something that, as a maker, I feel like we all have. Joey kind of said that, Matt kind of said that, you guys all did. But learning that point of leaving it alone because you're going to do more damage than good, that was a long lesson for me in the beginning, because I would see like one mark and I would be sanding and everything, and now I got a dip and I have to start all over again. So I have got to a point where I have to put the perfectionist aside and be like, no one's going to see this. The reason I see it is because I made it. And what I do is I send it to makers like Matt, Joey, Nap, and other people out there. And I'm like, what do you see? And when they find it, then that's when I go back and I actually start doing it. But the whole point, yeah, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish, please.
The whole point is we take pride in what we do, and we want to make sure that our clients are getting the best of the best. We're not mass producers of things, I make very one-off projects all the time, and that kind of leads into what I enjoy doing. Is I enjoy getting a client that doesn't really know what they want. I know that can be a pain in the butt, but when you get into it and you start describing, okay, they give you something, you're like, kind of like this, and like, yeah, that's what I want. And you come up with a project that's completely unique, and you're able to take that idea and turn it into reality. And when you give it back and see that look on their face of like, I didn't quite know what I wanted until we did this. And that for me is kind of like the ultimate win. And that kind of goes back to the theme of the show. I've had multiple projects throughout the couple, 5-6 years. I've been, maybe 7 now that I've been doing it, where I've had a couple of clients that, for whatever reason, did not like the project, or, something happened to the project. And that really gets me into a slump, because like I thrive off those, wow, I loved it. Those, clients that like the projects. But yeah, you find what you like. You gotta be careful, because sometimes that can bite you in the butt too. But perfectionism is something I don't think we can help. We just have to learn to deal with it and when to step aside.
Sorry,
we got another question here in the chat. Matt, were you going to add to that or not?
No, I was gonna say, you talked about perfection. There's a couple things that I know that I've done, and it was actually on my deck. And I told my wife, I said, if everybody points it off, they can get off my deck. Quit pointing stuff out. So
next time I'm down there, I'm going to be looking.
There you go. Yeah.
Look at this miter.
That is something I actually do. I'll be out eating, or I'll be in a building, and I'll be like, are they blind? Like, who did this?
Yeah.
We got a question from Mr. Victor, our good friend Victor at Whim Designs. And question is, of all the tools in your shop, what one tool do you find you reach for every project? And another question to that, does anyone know a good resource for coasters? I will need them for Christmas 2025. Any thoughts?
I think I do know a person that you can order those from, but you might want to order them now to get them in time.
Got a whole year.
All right, guys, have a good night.
So, Victor, on your first question, there is that a tool that I'm reaching for in the shop that I can actually find, or is that a tool in the shop that I reach for and I'm still wondering where it's at? So as far as in the shop, I mean, there's plenty of tools that I reach for, but to me, it's my combination square that I use all the time. So that's when I'm doing square stuff. That's what I do.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Mustache.
I'm gosh, I kind of, it depends on the project, to be honest.
I thought he was overwhelmed over the coasters.
Yeah, I mean, square, tape. I'm always using my tape.
My tape.
I would say, I mean, table saw sometimes, but like not all the time. Gosh, I don't have an answer to this.
That one.
I don't have an answer to this.
Okay. Josh, what you got?
Well, depending what I'm doing. I love a router, good router. You can't go wrong with a routing table. I use all the time. Could be CNC project, could be plaque, could be whatever. I end up using that at some point in time. It's just easy. I throw the bit in there, do what I need to do, get done real quick. So I would say overall router, but router table is kind of where I hit the most. Good resource for coasters. I said Six Flags, joking around, but it's just one of those things. Yeah. Sorry, he has a Six Flags close to him too, so the tickets might be on sale.
There you go.
Just bring a Coke can.
The tools I go to the most, other than the router, I would have to say is kind of a square of some sort, because you're always using that. And then out of the 5 tape measures, the one I could find, out of the small, I have a 1-car garage and I have 5-6 tape measures, and I can only find one at a time. So good tape measure always come in handy. So
Joey?
Yeah, I got a layout square. That's usually one thing that I carry, that in a tape measure. But the layout square, I've got one that's my favorite, and I usually have that. And it's good to, quick measures, whatever, tape measure. But that's kind of what I have. That and a pick-a pencil.
Let me ask you all a question there.
Pick-a
pencil. Pika. I've been changing up using tape measures just for rough cutting, and I use a ruler for my actual measurements. Y'all ever thought about that?
I've used both, yeah.
And the reason I do that is because, first of all, I got a flat edge and I know it's a straight piece, and I can butt it up to something and measure, and I have the same measurement. Where if I'm using tape measure, sometimes you're curved, sometimes you're pulling, or you're drooping on your measurements and stuff. But I've found that because I'm using smaller stuff anyways, at that point, that a ruler or a T-square has been working a lot better. It's a lot faster for me.
I use tape measure.
I will tell you one thing, that whatever
miter cuts and stuff, but that's about it. And then I go to the finer measuring tools when I get to the actual finer details.
Yeah.
But I always do a lot of my cutting in the beginning of the project with all my wood, and then I start going down into the finer woodworking tools. Sorry to interrupt you, Joey.
No, go ahead. Finish. Sorry. My internet's bad.
I mean, a tape measure you can use for everything, but like you've already said, Matt, you're going to lose accuracy as you get into the finer details of the project. Yeah. I do find a good mustache. A good tape measure is is always good to do a rough estimate on something. Making sure you it's so glorious, it's hard to not say.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but yeah.
We got another question from Mr. Sullivan.
Okay.
And it's, what is the tool you actually hate?
Ooh.
I can think of a
I think what he
couple.
means by the last part is, I guess you want to pull it with your diesel truck.
Pour
I'm
diesel
assuming.
on it and set it on fire.
The one that draws first blood.
This tool is on fire.
I hate.
And that's J.M. Sullivan Woodworks for the listeners out there on radio waves.
Yeah. For me, I find some useless tools that I've accidentally purchased, but I can't think of any that just straight up hate.
Scroll saw.
Scroll saw. Gee, you and me, Coke. Yeah, scroll saw. I mean, that's about it. I mean, once I learned the either laser or CNC, I never wanted. Well, I didn't want to touch the scroll saw before, but
Don't need to.
there was a necessary evil at the beginning, and now there's not. So, yeah.
I need
That's a
Jamie
tough
here. I need Jamie here to help with the scroll saw.
No, you don't.
What,
Matt,
you got
Mustachio, what?
you got a door you need to hold open?
Yeah,
No, I love.
that's what I use mine for.
I love my scroll saw.
Since I haven't installed my ACs.
For me, I would go with I had a bunch of problems with that glue bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm done. I'm done with that bottle. The seals crapped out on me. I tried doing some rubber bands and stuff, and I go to squeeze it and all the air goes out the top. None of the glue comes out the tip or anything. I threw that right in the trash. I
love the ketchup bottle kind of thing. Old ketchup bottles.
I might have to go into that. Yep.
I love those.
Yep. I think Pete was talking about ketchup and mustard bottles.
Yeah, you can buy them by the bulk, and they're clear, and then just a screw tip. Oh yeah, I love them. Love them.
Oh, I thought you were using the ketchup
using?
bottle.
No, I'm not that cheap.
Just gotta clean it.
I mean, it's just dye, right? Oh.
You know the one tool that I really procrastinate using because I don't know why, is a jigsaw.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. Well, and I want to say one thing though. I recently got a new one because they say these are just the way they're designed, and I'm gonna probably get some heat on this from people out there in the chat.
Let me guess, it's green.
Yeah, but okay. It's the barrel type, and it's not the conventional. And I want to see how that works because I do not like using a jigsaw at all. I will, and I have them. That's like the very, I guess if I have to, I'll figure out another way before I pull that thing out. I don't know why. I just never have liked them.
I have the Milwaukee. I have the Milwaukee. The barrel type M18 one, and I absolutely love it.
What did I miss? Yeah, Sergeant Solo needs to settle down there in the Wicka. How about you, Josh?
Jigsaw. There's some tools I just don't have anymore because I don't really use them. I mean, that's one of them. Circular saw, really don't have. No, I don't have one in the shop right now. Have every other type of saw there is. It's just, I don't know. There's no tool I necessarily hate. I will say the one that draws first blood usually. That's when I want to put diesel on and burn it. But yeah, there's not one I really truly hate. I usually get rid of those. So
how do you feel? Let's go into this since we're talking about tools. How do you feel track saw versus table saw?
for me personally, there is a need for both.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a lot because of my table saw and the room I have. I can't break down a full sheet of plywood in my shop the way it's set up and my table saw. So having track saw makes that difference for me. And that allows me to break it apart, bring it in the shop and manage the pieces. Now, if I had a full-fledged shop, I probably could do it all on the table saw, to be honest with you. But it depends on your resources and what you have going.
So I love my table saw, and I built an old man table around it, so I didn't have to worry about holding up a piece of plywood. But track saws do have their uses. 100%. If you're using any kind of live edge, if you're using,
that's a good point
you need to be able to cut it down with the track saw because you have nothing really straight to go after, and I can't think of a jig that I can make that's long enough to be able to cut it. I mean, you might be able to use a tapering jig, but still, it's going to be so long that you're not going to. It's going to become. I mean, you got a 10-foot piece sitting there. You're not going to make a 15-foot tapering jig so you can rip down a piece there. But a track saw makes more sense there.
Yep.
But when it comes down to sheet goods, I'm all about my table saw. All about it.
Someday.
Yeah.
I'm like you, Matt. I feel that and Josh said there's a use for both. I just had an instance this week with the miter saw station where I had to use a track saw because those pieces are actually too big and bulky to try to push them straight. Well, really, it was just to get a straight edge on one side and square them up. I used the track saw.
Mm-hmm.
It was easier. And you don't have to try to lug that thing around and try to hold it straight when you're by yourself. You set a track up and you can cut, and they leave you a finish edge. Honestly, if you got a good blade, and same as a table saw, but I feel that there's a use for both, especially if they're cordless and you need to go somewhere. Let's just say your vehicle's not suitable to bring a whole sheet of 4x8 back home. It's always good to have that to where you can just bust it out in the parking lot and
they make dealerships. They sell vehicles.
Well,
called a pole saw. I mean, I've seen people, and I've been one of those people that have done that in the parking lot. And every time, people that are doing it, and they look at you, and you're like, I've been there.
Who was it this weekend that had a video on that? What was it? I forget her name, but she did. She cut down like 3 sheets of plywood down to 2-foot pieces all the way and stacked them in the back of her vehicle so that she could do her project at the house. Wow. Hey, more power to you, Joey. DJ Taco.
We got a question in the chat here. Mustachio, you got anything you want to say about that? Or
no, I was just gonna say I waited way too long to buy a track saw. I wish I got down on that tool earlier.
Before we lose the track saw thing here, have y'all seen that one that rolls up?
What?
There's a track saw that rolls up. I think it's by I can't remember who it's by. It's a red company. But anyways, the track saw has a track on it. It rolls up and then comes out flat. It's like an aluminum.
What?
Yeah, it makes it. The track, everything fits inside the box.
Hot dog. Dang.
A red one. Well, there's that other company that's compatible.
It might be brown. I don't know, Joey. Don't be calling it out there. But it's
one of those... Why did you kill it, man? I was trying to work my way to the punchline.
I'm sure you were. I had to steal it.
Yeah, you blew the wind right out of my sails.
Come on, DJ Taco.
We got a question here, Matt. What color are the question marks?
Oh.
What question? Oh, same color as the
Anyhow, do you guys set your glue bottles upside down? from Henry Scroll Saw Works.
I did
Thank
not.
you, Henry.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
I usually go through them pretty fast, but like you're talking like the 1 gallon bottles, I go through them pretty fast. The squeeze bottles, because I go through those pretty fast as well because I'm dumping into. But I don't set them. I've never set them upside down. Is there a good thing to do that? Is there a pros for that? Atlas tracks. There you go.
There you go. Maybe it's like putting wine.
Josh is
like
overlooking it.
storing wine so the wine hits the cork. Maybe something like that.
Huh. Yeah, I've never heard of storing glue upside down.
Keep it moist.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No squeeze bottles.
Oh, that might have saved my little like diaphragm on my glue bot. I don't know.
I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, though.
I don't either.
I guess
I need to look it up.
I guess any of the glue that's maybe on the tip, it keeps it from drying.
Just the tip.
But if it's not hitting air, I don't know. No, I don't. I mean,
yeah. No, I've never heard of that question.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Okay, we got another question from Mr. Sullivan again.
You wrong one there.
Oh, wrong one. It switched.
There you go.
There we go. For everyone, say you stop making right now, focused on organizing your shop, laid out to the T, sockets labeled, home for every tool forever. How long do you think it would take?
A couple weeks and I'm done. Because most of mine's done. Yeah. Most of mine's done. So,
I'm 5 years into it.
And they're still in boxes. But most of mine, I literally stopped and just tore my complete shop apart and reorganized the whole entire thing. So I'm to the point of just labeling things. That's where I'm at with mine. How about you guys?
I would have to say, I have procrastinated a lot of things, but I got other things going on besides this. But laid out to the T, like what Jason's talking about, it would take me a long time. I've seen a shop on YouTube where it was
that's not a shop, that's a museum.
The one there, it was a guy in Arizona, and I've tried to search for that video, and I have yet to find it again. You talk about, I've seen some beautiful shops, and there's a lot of people with shops out there that are very impressive, but that guy there was absolutely amazing what he did. Yeah. Everybody knows. Why is everybody picking on me today?
Because it's so easy.
No, it wasn't Fleetswood. He's got an amazing shop, but this guy actually,
all the stuff is like walnut all the way around. He can walk on the countertops. He's got a step up for walking on the countertops, so he can get to all this. It's amazing.
Well, but that's not the shop I'm talking about. There's another guy that absolutely designed this himself, laid it out. Everything is labeled, screws, sandpaper. Everything is made to where the tabletops are all the same size. Everything's the same height. So when he needs to cut longer materials, it will all work within that. It's just absolutely amazing what that guy did. All his drawers pull out when, of course, they pull out, but there's some that pull out, rise up, and they have different compartments that slide back within each other. It's absolutely beautiful. His shop is amazing. And I've never been able to find that shop again. I've never been able to find that video, and I've searched and searched. It's something to see. They did like a 2 or 3 part series. Somebody went and interviewed that guy. It was absolutely amazing what he did. Anyhow, yeah. So to do something like that would be a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something that I would do, and spend the rest of my life trying to do something like that. 5 years into it.
So let's just name one other thing that we would do to get out of a rut. Anything, just try an off the wall thing. So I got a couple of them that I do that's off the wall.
Go first.
Kick us off.
So I'll just take a trip, change the scenery, just to change the scenery, going to see something else, going to see something that might inspire me is something that I do. We'll just go, and I'm not going to go in the shop that weekend, and we just head out. Now it's hard for me to leave my shop, and my wife will tell you, if you ever talk to her, that it's hard for me to leave more than 2 days because I got to get back to my shop. But taking that time to go leave, we went to North Carolina a couple times and Tennessee, because as you can tell, those are like 2-day trips. We went to a couple places like that, and it was inspiring to see some things. And you came back and it felt almost rejuvenated. There's the word I was looking for, rejuvenated. To be able to get in your shop and you see other things, or a lot of times it's going to see things and how they're put together. We saw a couple cabins that were put together and how the joinery was done in it and how they laid out the cabinets up to a curved wall of logs. That was pretty impressive. And so seeing that joinery and stuff was something that inspired me. Somebody else did it, changed the scenery, and I came back and I felt to do it. Felt energized again. How about y'all?
I would have to agree, Matt. Just getting away from here, and it doesn't matter what. Just get away from here. Go take a quick weekend trip, and clear your head. Don't think about any of this stuff. I think a lot of times we get, social media and all this just weighs on you. And I've gotten here lately where if I put something out, I put something out. I just try to update through my stories, but I'm not pressured to try to put a reel out or do something. But getting away from here and going, enjoying the family, my wife, and just get out of here and go do something else. And then when you come back, it feels like I'm re-energized to do stuff out here, or do house stuff outside the shop, do yard work, do something else than in here. How about Mustachio?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you guys on just kind of like taking a break and checking out, going on a 1 or 2 day kind of like adventure somewhere else, and also kind of like talking to other makers, maybe if it's a specific like project or something that I'm having problems with that I just want to give up on, like maybe I can like think of someone off the top of my head that like, oh, they did like this with whatever, and talk with them and stuff, and maybe that's a good way to like get back into it, and like think a little like outside of the box and be able to kind of refresh yourself and get back into it. What about you, Josh?
That's kind of where I was going to lean on to. I would say go into the community, Instagram, and the makers I know. They can inspire you in a project easily. People are doing some amazing things out there constantly. There's makers that are just all inspiring. Reaching out to the friends I have out there, and even telling them you're in a rut, they'll help you get back where you need to go. You know what I'm saying? The community always helps in some way or form, even if it's just browsing, seeing what people are up to. You could definitely get it back into the shop and get that energy to get things done. So, I mean, Instagram could be used for a lot of different things. Community and inspiration are amongst my top two. So
I think that's one that I have a hard time with, is reaching out to other people that, hey, I'm in a rut, or I just put my head down and move forward. And I think that's something I probably need to try to do more. It's
hard to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, that went by pretty quick there. Mustachio Josh, thank y'all for hanging out with us today. Everybody
you for
out in the
hosting us.
chat, appreciate y'all sending in some questions. And yeah, it was a good time, good topic, good show. Anyhow, thanks everyone for hanging out. Y'all have we won't have a show next week because of the holidays, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. So happy. Go ahead.
Just to let y'all know that Red Leg over there was the right person. It was Atlas. Atlas is the track saw that I was thinking about.
And Jason mentioned Mafel. Mafel is kind of a compatible to Festool. Well, it's not. It is same level, I guess. They're very high end tools. If y'all have never heard of Mafel before,
Never.
that was one that I was. If you go look, they have similar things. But anyhow, very nice equipment too. Thanks everybody. Y'all have a good evening. Happy Thanksgiving. I can't even see the chat anymore. Yeah, you had to put that one up.
Chicken.
DJ Joey.
DJ Taco.
Yeah.
Putting ketchup on one.
Man, you're taking away my things, dude. Come on. I was going to say, make sure you put some ketchup on your tamales. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey. And we will see y'all week after next. Y'all have a good evening. Bye now.
Bye-bye.